Hi, I'm Fred Armisen here with Alison Brown and Steve Martin. But
Hi,
before we get
Fred, and
hi,
everyone. And
hi
just what
everybody.
do I say before you even get into your spiel, which you've memorized and worked on for days and days and days, I just want to say thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. I'm so happy to be doing this. And what I was going to say is before we get started, we want you to know that you can order copies of the limited edition red vinyl album or
Wow.
CD from Talk Shop Live, and it will come hand signed by both Steve and Allison while they last. So just press the
While Steve and Allison last?
yes.
That could be
While you last. Otherwise, no more.
Yeah.
So just press the shop button on Talk Shop Live or comment the word shop if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram to receive a link in your DMs to purchase. So to all of your friends on YouTube, just click the link in the description. To all of our friends on YouTube, just click the link in the description. So we're going to get to as many questions as we can. Safe, Sensible, and Sane. I just want to tell you both that I love this album. I really do. There's something about, I kind of want to start with the last track, Let's Get Out of Here. To me, that sort of like rolling bluegrass style, that just feels like it's the momentum of it. What strikes me is I don't understand how you happen upon chords like that. Those chord changes are very emotional. How do you arrive at something like that?
I'll tell you one thing, and Allison may disagree, but a lot of times when I play the banjo, you're playing a single note or two at the same time. So the chord can become an option. Mm-hmm. And Allison is very good at providing these chords to some of these single banjo notes that can go in any direction. I mean, you can take a note and make it a major, minor, and a whatever. And that's sort of, I don't know. I mean, Allison already had that song in the works when we first started on it, though. But
well, I've listened to a lot of Celtic music, and they're masters at reharmonizing simple melodies like that. But Steve's right. There's a lot of ambiguity when you just have a single note or two. So there's a lot of ways you could go to put the relative minor or, four chord or whatever in there. So that's a lot of the fun of, kind of the improvisation of Celtic music.
So does it come from traditional bluegrass or would it be more Celtic?
Well, I would say like messing around with the harmony is probably a little bit more of a Celtic music thing, but in bluegrass music too, those simple melodies, they do give you a lot of room to kind of put different chords beneath them, and it gives out a different emotional feeling every time you change a chord.
When you're playing, there's on most of the tracks, there isn't a rhythm track, a percussive instrument, unless you think of the banjo as a percussive instrument. How do you, is there a designated timekeeper when you're recording?
Well, there often is in the mandolin and bass. And a lot of times, sometimes the fiddle will chunk, we call it chunking along, and sometimes the banjo will chunk along and keep the time.
That's a great question, Fred, because I know you're a drummer. So the banjo is kind of like the hi-hat, like the 16th notes, and the mandolin is kind of providing that backbeat. And then the bass is on the downbeat. So between all the instruments, they kind of accomplish what one drum kit accomplishes.
It seems like there's no variation in tempo, which is really nice. Like it must be hard to do, but maybe for you it's easy to keep time in that way.
It's a lifelong pursuit.
I'll tell you something. When I first started playing again professionally, which is now 25 years ago, I was playing with a band and I said, let's work. I'm going to get a metronome. So just to work on my time. So I get the metronome and I start playing to the metronome, and 2 minutes in, I go, I can't believe I got a metronome that's broken. Because you cannot believe you're speeding up or slowing down. Yeah. And since then, you've kind of learned how to lock in to the rhythm, because I think that's actually the difference between what sounds like a professional player is being able to lock into that rhythm.
Yeah, when I hear it, there's so much. I mean, it does sound percussive all the way through. Um,
Well, I do think that a lot of bluegrass bands play with a drummer, but we do it for economy, not to
yeah,
play with a drummer.
yeah.
I've always thought of bluegrass as very percussive, and if you listen to early bluegrass, it's got a chop that's just solid. And I only learned when I started playing banjo, I really only learned to play on the backbeat because I was explaining bluegrass is always on the backbeat. And I don't even know if that's true, but that's what I listen for is the backbeat.
Yeah,
Wow.
that mandolin chop, it really does anchor things. And on a track like Let's Get Out of Here that you just mentioned, that's Sam Bush playing mandolin, and he is the master of the chop. Like his backbeat just goes for days. It's awesome.
Oh, it sounds great. When did you both start? When was the first time you played together?
Well, first time we played together. By the way, I know I'm mansplaining to Alison here,
No, this-
but we were on. Our families would coincidentally went down to a Caribbean island at the same time for a vacation, and I had learned of Alison through Tony Trishka, and somehow we connected. And you just on those island days, you just sit outside and have a little drink and play, and the breeze is so good, and we played kind of effortlessly, and that's kind of what our music turned out to be today. If you listen to, there's a lot of rhythmic calypso, bossa nova sounds on there that really shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I heard two of the tracks they have like a calypso feel to them. Was that a different approach when you went into the studio? Do you leave it alone or do you add to it?
Oh, I think both of those tunes wanted to be that way. The song Michael, which is probably our favorite song on the record, that one started from a banjo, kind of a banjo melody that I came up with, and I shared it with Steve, and he said, I find that melody really intriguing. And he could really hear something in it that I couldn't, which was lyrics. I could only really imagine it as an instrumental, but right away, like the bossa nova way that it wanted to lean, like was really apparent to both of us. So I think, we both really just wanted to serve the music and see where it took us. And that one took us towards bossa nova.
It actually, I think, nobody cares about the details of how you write a song, but I think when I first heard the song, and I'm sort of sitting back and thinking, what is this? What is it? I think the image that I got was from the song Girl from Ipanema, which is a girl walking down the street. And I thought, this sounds like someone walking. And that led to the way the song is now.
That's something that I don't know if you guys are planning to do some live shows. Do you think that's something that's like in your future?
Only in a very small context. There's no touring. I tour with Marty Short, and I've got a child, and I just can't be gone. But we might show up here and there somehow. Also, it means I'd have to actually learn how to play the songs.
I'm still gonna hope that it happens. I would love to see you guys. If it was,
Also on this record, because we have so many guest stars, it would be a $1 million tour.
Yeah.
You'd have to get Vince Gill and Jason Mraz and the Indigo Girls and Aoife O'Donovan. It just goes on and on. Jackson Browne. It'd fill stadiums, except it wouldn't.
Well, speaking of going on tour, the lyrics to 5 Days Out, 2 Days Back they're really, all the lyrics are great, but that one, there's something very literal about it, about the bargaining of being away from. By the way, that's my assumption, is that it is it is sort of personal about going on tour. Would that be the case with those lyrics?
Definitely. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well,
you're the lyricist.
That when you're single and when you're young, it's a joy to go on the road. It's life. You're taking yourself to life, and you're meeting people, and you're talking to people afterwards, and staying afterwards, and having a cocktail, and flirting, and etc. And then that's over. and you don't want that life anymore, and you have a wonderful home life. But musicians often have to keep going, you know, for financial reasons, even when they have a happy home life or they have a child. And so that phrase occurred to me it actually started, you reminded me.
Yeah, it started off as 9 days out, 1 day back. And then we got a little more family friendly as time went on.
Mm-hmm. And then we realized there was a math problem. If you start with 9, it would go 9 days out, 1 day back. And then you go to 5 days out, 2 days back. And then you go to 2 days out and 5 days back. You have a real math computational problem.
Yeah.
For the listener.
Yes. And I think a lot of albums should start with the math of it all, for sure.
Exactly.
Do that,
formula,
write that part first.
Right,
Yeah.
get that out of the
So you've got some guests on the album. Tim O'Brien.
The amazing, great Tim O'Brien, one of the best vocalists in bluegrass music ever, and perfect voice for 5 days out, 2 days back.
And I also think, I say, if I could sing like anybody, who would it be? And I think Tim O'Brien.
Della May on
Yes.
New Cluck Old Hen.
Yep, those guys are an all-female quartet, and they are the most dynamic quartet I know of. I get a chance to play with those guys occasionally, and they bring just so much attitude to their version of bluegrass music that I knew that they would be perfect for Cluck Old Hen.
And I happened to see them at one of their earliest performances at Mountain Song in Brevard, North Carolina. And I'm not sure how long they had been together, but they were new at the time. So I feel good about that.
Are they a cappella all the time, or do they have a band behind them?
Oh my
No,
God.
they're a band. They're great players.
Yeah,
Kimberly Whitaker, their fiddle player, she can burn it down as good as anyone.
She plays fiddle on that. It kills it.
Yeah, that's the band on the track. It's
Yeah.
basically
Oh,
yeah,
that's the full band. I see.
yeah,
Okay.
Stephen and me and Della May. That's the
I
instrumentation.
know you think if it doesn't have drums, it's not a band.
It doesn't count. So Aoife O'Donovan.
Yes, another one of the great voices of contemporary roots music, and a pal. She came up playing, singing bluegrass music and playing in a band called Crooked Still, which is probably about the time I first met her. But Aoife can sing anything, and we knew she would be like really get Michael.
She also provided something, you know, I had worked with her before in certain circumstances, but the lyrics to Michael are vague, and sometimes they don't scan, or they only scan in my head. And she looked at that song. They were backstage at an event and said, "Hey, you want to hear this and maybe sing?" And she understood the scansion of those lines just intuitively and knew where the story was. And so it was like always wanted to be her.
Those are very moving lyrics. Is it something real? Is this a real person or a business? Like, because it was the restaurant.
I would say, no, it's not a real person, but it's a person we kind of think we all know, or have witnessed in our life or seen as a character in film, the person you just kind of want to hang out with, and they always make you feel better. I've had the experience with the opposite, where a person you're with, they always make you feel worse about yourself. But, you know, it's a nostalgic song. She's singing about someone she used to know, that they grew up together, and was her mentor, I guess, in a way. But yeah, I think we all can identify in some way with the purpose of that song.
I mean, one of the things I think is so cool about that song is the way Steve just created this, like in the course of 4 minutes, this like mini rom-com that I just keep wanting to see, like the TV show.
It's funny that you mentioned that sometimes when the opposite, you know, the types of people who want you to feel worse about yourself is such a funny thing, because it's a subtle thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it happens.
Well, there's a line in there where she sings, "He can give you the bad news and still make you laugh."
Yeah, I love that. Michael McGoldrick, John McSherry, and John Doyle as a trio.
Yes, killer Celtic musicians, Irish musicians, and John Doyle on the guitar. He is a drum kit. You would love playing with this guy. Actually, you wouldn't love playing with him because he kind of does your job. He's one of the most dynamic guitar players. And John McCusker and John McGoldrick too are just incredible musicians. And it was, when we first started working on this tune, Evening Star, it had a Celtic lilt to it, but those guys really kind of made it legitimately Celtic. I mean, I think it could have landed in more of a bluegrass space, but I really love the fact that we're taking clawhammer banjo, especially, and three-finger banjo too, into the Irish space and making it seem very musical and like it really belongs there.
And both Alison and I have a coincidental affection for Irish, Celtic, English, Scottish music that starts from somewhere I don't know. I have Irish blood, I think, but I don't think, I sort of don't believe in that. But so we kind of lean toward those songs, and a lot of the songs when I played early on had that sort of modal, mountainy, Irishy sound. And I listened to the Bothy Band and Planxty nonstop for maybe 4 years. The same 20 songs.
Have either of you recorded in Ireland or like explored it sort of geographically? Is there like a difference to actually recording with some of those artists there?
We actually recorded the track for Evening Star in Glasgow with that trio. So Steve wasn't able to be there that day, but that track came together there. And it is always different, like being in somebody else's studio, eating, sandwiches that are, different sandwiches than the ones that we get in Nashville, and drinking, copious cups of tea. So yeah, it definitely does have a different energy. And, I think that when you're in that place and you're trying to evoke the emotion of that place in the music, it is really just so nice to be in the place with, like, the cold air and the cloudy skies, and just like the sense of like a completely different sense of place and the ocean all around.
I wonder how far back it goes beyond, the 1700s or something. I'm trying to picture what those instruments and everything, what the roots of those roots are. But I have no idea.
Well, the fiddle would be a presence, some version of the violin. A lot of those tunes and a lot of bluegrass music, really came from the fiddle tunes from Ireland and Scotland. And Bill Monroe, who created bluegrass music in the 1940s, was drawing on a lot of those melodies and what he would call the ancient tones. So there really is a connection. It's like what Steve and I both feel in the music. We came to the music through bluegrass, but it was so informed by what was happening over there for hundreds of years beforehand.
I mean, I'm not a musicologist at all, but our scale, da 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 da, I think they started with something completely different. That have other scales and not even think about da 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 da. And if I could do the minor scale or some other scale that they just naturally drifted to, a lot of those songs.
But so much of it is so hypnotic in the repetition that sometimes it feels religious to me. Something does feel slightly religious in the in the droning part. The droning part does feel like worship somehow.
One thing that led me to the banjo was the drone, the fifth string. And it was explained to me that it was a drone. It turns out later it's not a drone because people are playing the fifth string up and down all the time. But I always thought of it was as an unfretted string. And also, of course, the bagpipes, which I love, is just live on the drone. And if I could walk around in life with a drone playing behind me, I would be very, very happy because everything would feel very serious.
Yes. Yeah. There's like a harmony to it. Jason Mraz is on the record, on one of the Calypso songs.
Yes, he is. He's the perfect interpreter of the song "Safe, Sensible, and Sane." Well, actually, the song is called "Statement of Your Affairs," but it's where the title of the album came from: "Safe, Sensible, and Sane." And I can't think of a more generous musical spirit. We sent him a demo of the song, and he just basically sent us right back. He said, "Here's the vocal. Do anything you want with it." And we're like, "Wait a second, it was just a demo."
Yeah.
But
and he caught the humor of the song. I had lunch with him here in New York, and we just talked about. We kind of went over the lyrics, and he caught the entire meaning of the song, which is nonsense.
Then he told us it was really starting to make sense.
Yeah.
Jackson Browne.
We have simultaneity, whatever that means, in that we were both in Orange County, California at exactly the same time. He was writing songs. He's like 17 and had already written like classics. And we worked the same clubs. I was not at his level. I was an opening act, but he was a headliner. We worked clubs in Tustin, they were coffee houses. They didn't serve alcohol. And that's where I saw a lot of music that lived with me today, the Dillards and Doc Watson and Jackson Browne. So it was a great kind of a full circle moment, coming back together, singing a song about aging.
Yeah, the lyrics are beautiful in that one as well. And there's like an instrumental a prelude to it. And I really appreciate it's so nice. It makes it feel like an album, that it's not so self-conscious that you've got to have these little tracks. I love that there are instrumentals, songs that are really short, like the one in the beginning, so that the prelude to that is gorgeous.
Oh,
well, Alison wrote all that. That's her.
Well, it was on Steve's prompt, which was,
we always try to blame each other.
Which was really, come up with a melody that's could be simple notes, like simple notes on the banjo. Which, when you think about the banjo as dividing the beat all the time, all those 16th notes, it's kind of unusual for the banjo just to play simple notes. So that was the challenge to write. But I'm glad you feel like that works. James Taylor does that on his records, and it's something I really love about his records. So it was nice to find a moment to do that.
And the history of that goes back to the big band. When if you recall, a big band would have a singer, but they would open with like 5 minutes of instrumentation, and then the singer would come in and sing the song. But there would be a long intro, and even some of the musicals, they have these long passages of intro.
It's great. It's like it draws you in. It's like you're sitting down. It's like it's like inviting, which I really love. And also, it just like it just makes it feel like an album. What are your feelings about albums in general? Meaning like the art of making, like you could have just done 3 songs and just had it out on streaming. What pushes you to say, let's make something complete?
Well, Alison and Gary, I would have gone, well, we've got 3 songs. But we got in a groove and we started writing more. And I now buy albums. I mean, vinyl albums, not as a collector, but that's kind of the way I like to hear albums now, because I don't even know where my CD player is, So if that's what you mean. But I think you write a bunch of songs and then you try to make sense of it,
And I think it's really, the whole thing with singles and just putting something on streaming, there's just this impermanence. Well, I guess it's very permanent, but it just doesn't have the same weight as when you can put something on a physical format and hold it and appreciate it and have it exist in its own moment, rather than just as part of this other distraction that's kind of swirling around us all the time.
And I also remember, in my youth, buying a record, and you couldn't wait to open it up and look at the dust jacket and read the album notes. That was a very big deal, was album notes, which I don't know if they still operate or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's true on a single, and people, say that all the time. I want to know who played on that track. And it's even really hard in Spotify or whatever to find the, really accurate and extensive crediting for a track. So there's something just very special to me about like what Steve's talking about, holding an album, reading the album notes. And that was something that we worked pretty hard on with this packaging, was to have there be content inside that the listener could like be listening, but also engaged by reading what we were thinking about while we were working on it.
Yeah, and you've got that version on red vinyl as well.
We do.
Yeah,
that's great. The song Bluegrass Radio, when I was listening to it, it felt very present tense. Like I don't know the business of whatever the business world of bluegrass is. You're talking about the local radio stations and looking up to see where you are on the charts. What is something surprising, something I wouldn't know about whatever circuit that is of bluegrass, of the business side?
Well, bluegrass music is a very community-oriented music, and the people who work within that ecosystem, a lot of times they wear multiple hats. So the people who are picking in the, in the local band, maybe also have a local radio show on the NPR affiliate every Saturday from 1 to 3. So I think that kind of the sense of community about the music, it's, part amateur and part professional, and people tend to do many things within it. Most of the fans are players, for example. And I think it's a lifestyle music, whereas I think of pop music as being more fashion. People who are in the bluegrass community, that reflects on them and who they are. It's part of their identity. Whereas I think that a lot of times, if you're a fan of a pop band, that music comes and goes. It's not so much a reflection of you for a lifetime as much as it is just for a moment in time. So that might be something that's a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I could see that, especially just I know this is almost this could seem irrelevant to this, but that Gary and yourself run the label, run Compass.
Right.
So I could see that.
And I think that our world now, one of the main differences is that a niche can be very large. I'll try to explain what I mean. It's like sometimes I'll say, so and so just sold out 3 nights at Madison Square Garden, and you go, who? And it's possible, I say, to sell out Madison Square Garden and not be a star, meaning that a vast thin slice of the community knows who you are, and a lot of people don't because they're not watching the same media. And in this world, the bluegrass world is a niche, and it's a specialized niche with special regard, I think, for its musicians. So
it feels like, judging from this record, that there's also like a fair amount of experimentation with bluegrass. I wouldn't know how much, but is that something that bluegrass fans enjoy, like a little bit of some changes in the songwriting?
Yeah, well, I think innovation's at the core of bluegrass music because most people don't realize it, but the music didn't really get invented until 1945 when Lester Flatt, Bill Monroe, and Earl Scruggs played on the Grand Ole Opry for the first time together. That's the beginning of bluegrass music. So its roots go way, way back, hundreds of years in terms of the music that influenced it. But that was the moment for bluegrass. So anytime, within any kind of music, I think you're going to find traditionalists who are afraid of losing the traditional core, and then people are trying to be innovative. But I always think about the fact that bluegrass was innovation. Those guys were like punk guys, taking an old time music and kind of speeding it up and making it this music that reflected this kind of change that was happening in society in the 1940s. So to me, it's very much a part of the spirit of the music.
There definitely is, or was, I should say, a strict guideline for what bluegrass was. And one of those things, for example, would have been drums. Drums would have been a problem in traditional bluegrass, but almost immediately, within 20 years, Earl Scruggs had drums on stage because of his sons. They wanted to progress the music. But also, a lot of times on radio stations, they have a special section for, watch out, this is unusual bluegrass. Whoa. So they have to kind of forewarn people. But the truth is, it's the new music, because you're not going to stop new music and new musicians and new ideas. It's just going to occur. And it occurs now. I listen to a song on a bluegrass radio station, and I go, it's not really bluegrass, but it sounds like it. And the music has morphed, and music is going to morph.
How did you record this album? What was it one studio? Was it over the course of a long period of time, or?
You name it. Everything happened that could happen. We were together in the studio. I would go into a studio on, over the internet and record and send things. There was a million different ways. Everything that could happen happened.
Yeah, we did a lot of the basic tracks at Compass, and Steve came for some of the sessions. And then we, like Steve said, we did some sessions in Asheville and the session in Glasgow. So it happened in many places in many different ways. But I'd say Compass Sound Studio was probably at the heart of it all.
It is the parts where you're together. How live is it? Is it both instrument? Because you're coming through two different speakers. You know, with the two banjos. Is that how it's? Are you recording live, or is it sort of you step in and you step out?
We did some live. There were definitely some live things. I think the tune "Let's Get Out of Here," we recorded the banjos almost face to face, and just panned them right and left. But that all went down, you know, together, and that's the way we did our first collaboration, "Foggy Morning Breaking" too. We recorded the banjos live together, even though the track was already done.
I love it. That the sound of them. It's almost like you could feel that they're in the same room. That's my assumption, anyway.
Well, they are. I think they mostly when we're playing together, we're mostly in the same room. Yeah.
A couple other guests. You had the Indigo Girls.
Yeah, Emily and Amy, two of my favorite people and great players. And you know, with money, you know, girl have money when you're old. It actually started off as son have money when you're old. And once we switched it to hun in the lyric, it kind of opened up this whole other, you know, possibilities of who could sing it. And we needed some women that had enough gravitas and enough experience to make it believable. And I love Emily and Amy, and I've worked with them both a lot. And I thought they'd be perfect, and they just knocked it out of the park, I thought.
They brought a lot of like joy to this recording, and they put their hearts into it, like Della May put their hearts into Cluck Old Hen. You can feel them caring about the tune.
Yeah, and on Girl Have Money When You're Old, it was really fun to cast like all female players. So everybody on the track except Steve. I told Steve he was going to be the token dude. He said I'm good with
that. Vince Gill is on here.
One of the great. I mean, I'm lucky. He's recorded 2 songs I've written. I can't even believe it. I mean, I remember I recorded once with him with him and Dolly Parton. I can't believe it. And I'm working out a little banjo part, you know, and he's a guitar player singer. He's one of the great ones. And I'm trying to work out what to play, and he just comes over and he goes, "Well, what about this?" Yeah, and he just plays exactly what I should be playing. I didn't even know he played banjo.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he does. In fact, when I was about 16, I think I beat him in a banjo contest at Knott's Berry Farm.
Wow. Yeah, his voice is incredible. I feel so bad about that. I said Della May, are they a cappella? I'm so embarrassed.
Well, cut it out.
No, I think let's be honest and let's
well, here's the thing
show my ignorance.
You've had a great career so far.
They are great a cappella and when they play their instruments.
Well, there is an a cappella part in there.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Yes.
There's
oh, you're nice. You're nice to defend me.
Yeah.
What are your hopes? I mean, aside from the usual hopes of what who an album reaches, what do you imagine the other side of it is? You know, what would you like to happen with the record?
Well, I would like it, you know, to be a little desert island that you like to go to, you know, where it's sunny and warm. You know, I mean, 10 years from now, sure, I'd love it if people were saying, "Oh, that was a great record." You know, that would be the ideal.
Yeah, and for me, you know, it's exciting to think that you might be able to add to the lexicon of the instrument, you know, and maybe kind of move the instrument forward just a little bit.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, give
thanks
people
to
a
Alison.
fresh way to think about it. Sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. Thanks to Alison, there are sounds of the banjo in there that you just don't hear. I mean, like on Statement of Your Affairs, to me, her banjo sounds like a steel drum from Jamaica, you know, and she's also got captured in Michael, that sort of island feel, the sunshine. Anyway, there's and the banjo is, I think if you ask people what it is, I have a friend who says most people who don't know much about the banjo say 2 things. They say, "I always like the sound of the banjo," and "Wow, are they heavy."
Are they 2 different types of banjos that you're both playing, or is it the same kind? Because I know that there are variations of the instrument.
Yeah, so the banjo I'm playing is a bluegrass banjo, so it has a resonator on the back. And I'm playing it with picks, so 2 metal picks and a thumb pick. And Steve is playing a claw hammer style banjo most of the time.
Mhm. And it's open back. So the big difference is a resonator, which is a piece of wood that goes on the back that throws the sound out, and the open back lets the sound drift around and come out from behind the instrument too. So it's a little mellower.
Okay, sort of a little more muffled in a way.
Not muffled. People actually try to muffle their banjos,
Mhm.
but I don't know how, more overtones maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
How do you
it's
describe
maybe
it?
a little bit, well, it's still bright, but it's not quite as loud. I mean, the bluegrass banjo is probably a louder sound, and especially with the metal picks too. And that's the sound that people associate with, well, that's the Beverly Hillbillies, and
Mhm.
that's that sound. Steve's style of banjo, that's more of an old time instrument.
Mhm.
That would have been 100 years ago what you would have found.
Well, to turn this into a debate, I would still back up that it would indeed be muffled, therefore, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be the...
This is your second error.
I know. The song...
You can take an open back banjo. Look, here's right here. Here. I got it right here just to show you. This is like the banjo looks like, and this is what the open back look like. It's just open. You know, but people take like washcloths and stick it behind their banjo to deaden it. But this is still bright. You know, it's still bright.
So has resonance.
Still very bright.
Right, as in then this one has the resonator on the back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's heavy.
Yeah, it is heavier.
Yeah.
The song Friend of Mine, by the way, I just want to address that melody is so pretty.
Thank you.
It's because it's kind of simple too. It's like it's almost like it's like the first page of a book or something.
Well, that song actually, I wrote it a while ago, probably in St. Bart's when I was writing with Edie. And that melody, she is actually in our musical Bright Star, but she changed the melody and really just used my banjo backup. So, and I say that sort of never got heard. So we re-recorded it for this. We wanted a 2-song, and it's a song with just 2 banjos in it, just to say this is what we're talking about right here. And then Alison added it more parts, as she usually does, and that's what that is.
Yeah, we just really wanted a conversation between the 2 banjos to start the record off, kind of an overture, just something very short.
Oh, it's great.
Thank you.
So good. Well, safe, sensible, and sane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy that it's out, and thanks for doing this.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Fred. Really, sincerely. I know it's work, but thank you.
I'm so glad it worked out that we figured out a way to do this. All right, we've got some questions from fans.
Yay!
Marty asked Steve, "What gives you the greatest fulfillment? Acting, writing, performing comedy, or music?"
Well, let's clarify. That's probably not Marty Short asking that. But you know, the truth is, I get a little satisfaction from each, and it's the overall thing that brings me the most satisfaction. I have friends in the comedy world, I have friends in the acting world, I have friends in the music world, I have friends in the art world, and it's just a great resource of joy to be with these people, these artists. That's really the biggest satisfaction.
Debbie wrote, "Alison, you inspire many of us as a musician, songwriter, and entrepreneur, as co-head of a music label, and as and the grammar's a little strange in this, but Alison, you inspire many of us as a musician, songwriter, and entrepreneur, as co-head of a music label. How do you balance your focus and are each equally fulfilling?"
Well, that's a big question. I'd say each informs the other in a positive way. So on the days when I'm just doing the business stuff, it's actually kind of fun to like drill into that and take away from that things and ideas that can inform the creative side in a positive way. For example, how to shape a project that I might be producing so that it has the best chance of being noticed in a saturated marketplace, that kind of thing. And then when I'm out touring, I get to really appreciate the fact that I'm out doing that for a couple of days rather than sitting at my desk crunching numbers. So it all kind of balances out in a good way. But I find that, it is a unique kind of thing. It makes me feel like people who want to do a DIY label, it's hard kind of balancing left brain, right brain all the time. It takes a specific kind of desire, I suppose.
And the truth is, you kind of maybe don't want to be doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
So that everything's a break from everything else.
Robert asked, with your busy schedules, will you find time to share this music live with fans by touring?
Unfortunately, I think a tour is unlikely, just because I'm have this family I'm raising, and every time I've already booked with Marty Short, and we may do occasional pop-ups here and there, but the life on the road, just listen to the song 5 days out, 2 days back, and you'll have my answer.
Steve asked, it doesn't appear retirement is on the horizon, thankfully, for us fans. Do you believe staying active and creative is a recipe for contentment and longevity in life?
Well, I definitely think activity is very important and valuable. I've been asked about retirement, and I make jokes about it, and they're taken as literal. But I kind of wouldn't know how to retire, I think. I mean, I think that you get retired by others. They just stop asking you to do things, and you just slowly notice your career drifting away, which is, kind of fine. I've had a great career. So, if things come up, little things come up, it just keeps you busy and keeps you active.
Once again, you can order copies of the limited edition red vinyl album or CD from Talk Shop Live. And this will come hand signed by both Steve and Alison. Just press the shop button on Talk Shop Live or comment the word shop if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram. You can also receive a link in your DMs to purchase it. To all of our friends on YouTube, just click the link in the description. And I just want to say thank you to you both. That was really fun.
Thanks a lot, Fred. You're the greatest. Appreciate it.
You're the greatest.
And don't forget your album, your sound effects album, which is so good.
So good.
Oh, that's nice of you to say. Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Did our shows got the applause? Abandoned me heading for the cars. Give a little wave to the fans. 5 days out and 2 days back. 10 years old, a little Rose, she wonders where her daddy goes. I come home and give a little shout. 2 days home, then I head out. This guitar, old guitar, once my northern star. Up and down the Virginia coast, we miss the ones we love the most. Tell my baby on the phone, traveling show is traveling home. Put her to bed, it's getting late. She wants to negotiate. Listen, Daddy, what about 5 days home and 2 days out? Little gift from the band, small guitar for tiny hands. Did a little extra on the midnight show, quiet in the van, 2 more to go. Didn't bother to unpack, 2 days out and 5 days back. Now I'm home playing with the kid, card games, word games, great weekend. that song you wrote